Well, I am thrilled and delighted to be here with one of the founding members of Grand Funk Railroad, currently a thriving solo artist, Mark Farner. Mark, welcome to Psychobabble.
Thank you. Friendly and nice to be here.
Thank you. Well, now
friendly bunch of guys.
Everybody knows the name Grand Funk, but let's do a little thumbnail history for some of the kids who might not be quite as familiar with the legacy. Formed in Flint, Michigan as a power trio. First two albums came out in 1969. By 1971, you guys were big enough to sell out Shea Stadium faster than the Beatles. By 1973, you'd crossed over into the mainstream with a string of hit singles, which lasted up until about 1976 when the group disbanded, to be followed by various comeback albums and reunion tours. But currently, these days, you're mostly focusing on the solo stuff. Is that about right?
That's right.
Okay. Well, now, millions of bands formed in the Midwest in the 60s and 70s. Why did Grand Funk make it?
I think it was partly due, timing is everything, but partly due to, the era was the Vietnam War era. I wrote the song, People, Let's Stop the War. I wrote the song, Closer to Home. The troops lock onto that because they want to be closer to home.
Yeah.
And the songs that I wrote, and I wrote every song on those first albums, they came from a place of provoking people to think about certain things, about values, about our nation, about what is freedom, and what is debt.
Right.
And that, I believe, because it was contrary to what other bands were doing. They were sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and I was bringing real issues with rock and roll,
right,
but keeping it so I'm not drawing a line and saying this is what you need to do and this is how it needs to be. I just want you to think about this.
Right.
And with an open heart. I mean, geez,
Well, and Dylan was kind of doing it in a folky way.
Yeah.
But you guys were bombastic. I mean, the whole power trio thing. You guys were a darling of FM radio. And again, for the kids, this was a different time. FM radio was kind of a hip, experimental, almost dangerous place.
Yeah, it was underground.
Yeah.
Underground.
Where you could play a 7-minute song.
Yeah, or 10-minute song.
Right.
Or what was that one, MacArthur's Park? It went on for days.
Yeah, right. I think it's still going if you turn on the radio.
When the DJ was hungry and had to go get lunch.
But then at some point you guys crossed over and you became darlings of AM radio as well. With you did the Locomotion, for God's sakes. Was that a conscious thing, or was that just a natural progression of your development as an artist?
That was the natural progression. There was no planning whatsoever. It just kind of happened as it happened. Okay. And band in 1969, when the band started, I was 20 years old. So and I started playing guitar when I was 15. So it was happening really fast.
Well, and let's talk about the culture again. You're 20 years old, decent guy, writing songs, thought-provoking songs, but people talk about the polarization of our society today as if that's something new. Back then, a guy who looked like you did, with hair down to your waist, and I don't think you owned a shirt back then.
No.
That your image alone was enough to generate hostility in a certain segment of the population. What was it like walking around with that 24/7?
It was great.
Okay.
It was really great because those people were provoked too.
Yeah.
To think.
Yeah.
They didn't even have to hear the words to the song.
Right. Who is that guy? Yeah. What is he doing?
What is he going to do? What has he got on his mind?
You did a little touring with Ringo Starr and his all-star band.
In '95.
What was that like, working with a Beatle?
It was wonderful. In fact, I reminded him who sold out Shea Stadium faster.
Oh, did you really?
Oh, yeah. I had to.
You got to.
But when we went to Japan, and we were sitting in Tokyo, and in front of the press corps doing this, meet and greet, and this little gal came up and she says, "I have question for Mr. Farner." So I stand up, and we're all like a panel.
Right.
Ringo's in the center, and the band is down the side, and so I stand up and I listen to her. "What is it like playing with Beatle?" I said, "Listen, honey, he puts his pants on one leg at a time, just like I do." And he came over, put his arm around me. He said, "Thank you, brother."
That's still too cool, though, playing with Ringo. But now, let's talk again about your son, Jesse, who he had a traumatic injury, and as you mentioned, is quadriplegic. How's he doing?
He's doing well. He's making small gains.
Okay.
The doctors said that he would never have the use of his arms and legs. He is now picking his head up off the pillow. He couldn't do this. I mean, when he
Okay.
came back from the University of Michigan, he was just, like he said, a head in the bed. But now he's able to assist in what people are helping him do, you know, getting dressed, and I shave him. He picks his head up and put the mat under it. And he was sitting in the chair the other day and showing his mother how he can pick his shoulders up.
If people want to help, if they want to get involved, I know there's a Facebook prayer site for Jesse.
Yes.
Are there sites where people can donate anything?
Yes, it's through Sweet Relief. We've got the information on our website, markfarner.com, and people have donated to Jess. He has no insurance. He's was off our insurance policy back when he turned 21. The state of Michigan, that's the way it is. And the Sweet Relief organization that we're working with are a great bunch of people who help artists and artists' families specifically. And it's all tax deductible, 501c3,
Okay.
you know.
Okay.
And so it's on
Great.
the up and up, and good people.
Look into it. And now, and in a solo show, what can a fan expect to hear at a Mark Farner solo show? Is it a lot of new stuff? Is it a lot of old stuff? What do we got?
It's mostly the three-piece, the early funk stuff. I polled my audience over the internet,
Okay.
and I asked them, if you give me 2 songs that you'd like to hear in my set, just send 2 songs. And so we had like 2,700 responses in a couple of weeks, and we said, that's a good enough poll.
Yeah.
Let's build a set. And so we build our set. And a lot of it is the 3-piece, you know, power trio stuff.
Absolutely.
The number 1, of course, I'm Your Captain.
I'm Your Captain.
That is the number 1. So, but my set is designed for the audience, and I do put some new stuff in, some of my solo stuff.
Sure.
Just a little bit, but people love it, and it's an opportunity for like the young people that come and they're in the first few rows. I'm telling you, a lot of young people are digging on what I had to say and what I said then, and it still stands up today. You know,
As
it
well they
rocks.
should. Not to paint you as a dinosaur, but you're one of the guys. You're one of the archetypes of this thing, this rock and roll thing. I mean, you got in early. Again, you were only 20, and you kind of built this ship. You know, so if you get a chance to see this guy, get out there. He's not going to be around forever. You know? Anything else you need? The fans need to know, Mark?
Love is unconditional. Do it all for love. Give yourself to love, and love will give itself back to you. That's what I found. I mean, through all the religious things, blah, 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 if your God is love, you can't go wrong. You just can't go wrong. Trust love. It brought you here. It'll take you from the bone suit.